Hey buds, today we're going to finish talking about the rest of the Warcry warbands. This time it'll be from the Grand Alliances of Order, Death, and Destruction. Before saying this video is incomplete, please look at the date before commenting. If there's any new warbands released in the future, I am definitely going to cover them. Now with that out of the way, let's talk about the setting. When Warcry first launched, it was all Chaos warbands at the 8 points fighting over Archean Chan's attention. Now that the game has had a few years to develop and grow, the setting has now been shifted to the Swamps of Gur. There are now also warbands from Order, Death, and Destruction who have all joined into the fight for their own reasons. Same rules as before, I'm only talking about units that have their own kit as of the making of this video. I'm only going to be talking about the official Warcry kits and not the crossover AOS kits that GW has done in the past. And yes, I know most of the kits I'm talking about are playable in AOS 4.0, but they are primarily Warcry kits that can be played in both games. Alright, let's go. The Askurgan trueblades. These are an order of honorable vampires that have decided giving to their bestial urges is silly. Instead, they like working out, training, and they choose to eat animals and monsters over innocent people. They tend to keep themselves, and they try to look as mortal as possible in both appearance and dress. They also refuse to sire any new vampires with the Soulblight curse. One of my favorite things about these guys and Kato is you're able to play a good/lawful neutral aligned army in AOS with vampires, which is really cool. This adds a little bit of flavor to the setting and makes sure vampires don't always have to be the bad guys. The Royal Beastflayers are a collection of different Flesh Eater Courts units that form into a beast hunting pack. They are led by a minor aberrant ghoul lord known as a Flamemaster. The Flamemasters have several trackers and peasant ghouls under their control, as well as the unique unit to this warband, the Awful Hound. These are former servants who have done something to displease their master and thus have been transformed into a bestial ghoul hound. This is also a side tangent, but I like to think in the grand scheme of the Flesh Eater Grand Illusion that the Awful Hounds actually think that they're dogs while they're transformed humans, so the illusion goes from like peasant soldier to puppet dog. The Beastflayers are also a little bit antisocial as they prefer to be out in the wilderness on the hunt over being with the Flesh Eater Court's army proper. The Pyregheists are the keepers of Nagash's balefire. This is the magical fire of death that burns both the body and soul. Like everything else in the Night Hunt range, they are made up of people who pissed off Nagash in life. In life, they were people who did rituals to ward off Nagash, holy men, alchemists, embalmers, as well as grave robbers and corpse thieves. In death, they're the keepers of the Bale Flame, and they now have to go around finding living things to throw into it to keep it burning, while also being on fire themselves from the Bale Flame, which I suspect still hurts like a bitch even in death. The Scions of the Flame have also expressed their interest to sue these guys, but they still haven't figured out how to not burn down their short bus on the way to the lawyer's office. The Teretic cohorts are the fuck-ups and failures of the Bone Reaper forces. Because of their poor showings, they have been remade into more bestial forms and are forced to act as scouts and spies for the Bone Reapers proper. This is all still while being aware that they're huge screw-ups, mostly because death armies fucking love their punishments. Two of the units in this warband also have these big old meat canyon-like thighs, and I just find that hilarious. I know it's a common thing in the Osiarch Bone Reapers. It just, when I see skeletons, I'm expecting little bird legs, and then it's like, bam! Goddamn. Those are some thick boys right there. And the best way I can describe these guys is they're that one kid in high school that you had to do a group project with that was just completely useless and pissed you off to no end. So you'd send him on to like get coffee and do other useless tasks. That way your group could still get an A. The Gorger Mawpacks. These are ogres who have been cursed with the worst of all ogre illnesses, a flat stomach. This is caused by the empty belly curse, which makes them even more hungry and crazy, but takes away their big old belly. Their entire existence is just going around and finding things to eat based on the fact that they're always hungry. The Monsta-killaz are a mixed race unit led by a Krulboy's Beast Knob. They specialize in killing and capturing monsters. This also includes stealing eggs from said monsters so they can be raised properly, and it minimizes the deaths in training them. Similar to normal Krulboys, they use a variety of poison-coated weapons, traps, and the knobs are armed with grenades borrowed from the Chaos Dwarfs. Their warbands consist of orcs, goblins, and evil closet monkeys known as howlers. Cainite Shadowstalkers. These are highly trained assassins and saboteurs that have been blessed by their mummy Morathi with shadow magic. They can travel through the umbral web, bouncing from shadow to shadow in combat. This makes them extremely deadly and efficient at their job. This, however, does come at a cost. Every time they go into the Umbral Web, they lose a little bit of their soul, and they come out looking a little bit more like Marilyn Manson. They also run the major risk of being eaten by one of the Umbral Web's non-chaos entities. The Shadowstalkers are completely loyal to their mummy Morathi, so everything I mentioned above doesn't really concern them all that much. If Snake Mummy is happy, so are they. The Hunters of Huanchi. The Hunters are a band of chameleon skinks that specialize in assassinations and subterfuge, much like the Shadowstalkers. They use a variety of poisons in their weapons to either kill or incapacitate you. They also have the ability to completely blend into their surroundings, making them all but invisible to the naked eye. If you ever decide to make the big brain move of messing with a Seraphon temple city, these are probably going to be the first guys that you run into. You're not going to see them, and you're probably not going to last long after they see you. The Questor Soulsworn. These Stormcast Eternals are the elite among Sigmar's already roided up boys and gals. They're tasked by Sigmar the jobs that require an elite group of small warriors over an entire Stormhouse to get the job done. This could be taking out an important enemy character, recovering a lost artifact, or being sent somewhere to stir up shit while the main army takes on the main target. Each member of this unit is highly independent, which leads to a lot of tactical flexibility in the field. The Wildercorp Hunters are another stealth and scouting unit, but this time they're made up of just normal guys and gals from the cities of Sigmar. Most of these guys and gals are made up of humans that were left behind during the Age of Chaos and stayed loyal to Sigmar, also known as the Reclaimed. They use crossbows, a variety of melee weapons, and some of the best boys money can buy. Seriously guys, you get like 5 puppet dogs in the box, just buy it for the puppet dogs. Totally worth it. The Vulcan Flameseekers. These are a group of Fireslayers who venerate Valkytrix, the mother of Magnadroths, as much as Grimnir. Overall, they're a swell group of guys and gals that have kicked some of the dumber Fireslayer habits. They wear armor, they have a sense of individuality, and they let baby Droths get some time in battle before they're forever cast as Rune Daddy's mount. The non-sexual kind, that is. In their adventures, they go around seeking Urgold like all Fireslayers do, but they have the additional task of gathering up any Magnadroth egg clusters that they can find. Also, now that I'm saying this out loud, there's now 2 warbands in this list that include people gathering eggs. GW, do us all a favor and release a Chaos warband that they're just the egg gatherers. Come on, do it. The Yildren Riverblades. These are the waterbenders to the Lumineth's 4 elements thing that they have going on. We are now just waiting on the Fire Nation to do their thing. These guys love chilling near rivers and any other running bodies of water. They worship river spirits and adorn their helmets with the crest of Daxio Whitecrest, the greatest of all these spirits. Sorry, that was a real tongue twister. I'm not getting any better than that, guys. My childhood speech impediment and stuttering is still haunting me to this day. Their fighting style can be best described as flowing water. They wear light armor and use light weapons to dodge and weave around the enemy. And the best way to describe them is they're like the water dancers from the old Wood Elf army in fantasy, just they really like water and rivers. The twistweald. These are Sylvaneth that have been infected with parasitic plants and fungi that has caused them to go insane. The infection burrows deep into their bodies and causes a great amount of pain for them. This in turn causes them to act like even bigger dicks than the normal Sylvaneth. When they find something to kill, they don't just kill it and move on. When they find something to kill, it's usually torn apart, beaten down, and the only thing left after they're done is a bunch of blood and giblets on the floor. Other Sylvaneth stay far away from these guys to limit the spread of the infection. Which seems like a great move on their part, because supercharged tree syphilis seems like complete shit. Well, that's all the warbands until GW decides to release more of them, making both my videos outdated. As always, if you could please like, subscribe, and have a great day.